On the cusp, in the car, Adam Pope here. We left off on our performance at the Country Music Hall of Fame with Kinsey. That was on a Sunday. So, Tuesday before Thanksgiving, I gotta tell you where I'm at. All right, I'm sitting, first of all, not just physically. I was at my house. My wife was at her mama's, so she's been helping down there with her grandparents. Her grandparents are in their late 80s. Amy's very close to them, and she's got an opportunity to help them out while she's in town. That she homeschools the kids, so she'll take them down there sometimes for a few days and just help them in any way possible. And they've been living with her mom, so she gets the benefit of visiting with her mama and stepdad and everything. Some of you may not know, Amy's dad passed away about 7 years ago, I believe. 8 years ago. So her mom and stepdad, I mean, they're very close. And her grandparents, especially her grandparents. So Amy goes down there and takes care of them. And sometimes I'm working or just doing whatever I got to do. Maybe I'm on the road, whatever. Most of the time we're on the road together. But this winter, we have been gone a ton. If you've listened and followed the podcast, I mean, from Montana to New Jersey to Florida to back to Montana to Texas. I mean, we've been all over just since July and August. And we really got to the point where I did not book a lot through the winter. And the reason is I told Amy, I said, I want to be more selective. So I said, I'm going to exercise that this winter, and I was so selective that all I had was 2 shows booked. And beyond that, it's just kind of a big question mark. And look, I don't have a booking agent. I'm the one. Okay? Now, in the summer, we've got Montana stuff tentatively lined up already. And when that's in place, that means there's going to be a bunch of stuff before it and after it. So it's not uncommon for this time of year to look like this. But this one here, I mean, I think I might be at Amazon delivering packages here pretty soon. I got to make some income. What am I going to do? I've got co-writes booked, but I can't live off of writing songs with people that I love when nobody big is recording them. So I don't have a publishing deal. It's not like I have income to go write. But I told her, and Amy agreed, we'll figure it out. Let's get through the holidays and just see what God has. Well, it's Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and Debbie Horton, she's on the Johnny Cash official concert experience tour. She's out there, and she messaged me. I think there's going to be an availability on this show for you. She said, I don't know if they're going to be interested, but I'm going to tell them about you. And now's the time. She said, I'm telling them. And I was like, okay. I mean, okay. Yeah, I've heard all this before. I mean, first of all, Debbie, she did tell me months ago she would love for me to be on it. And there are people that play guitar and sing like I do. Not necessarily exactly like me, but they don't need to be a lead guitarist, just a rhythm guitarist that sings. There's 2 spots for that on this show, which I didn't know that. I never would have auditioned for it because I was busy all fall. But they have a fall tour and they got a winter tour. So look, y'all can see where this is going, right? So that's Tuesday before Thanksgiving. So you know what's going on, but I'm going to tell you how it happened, because how it happened is what's so cool. This is on the cusp. And I didn't know what I was on the cusp of when she texted me that. But Wednesday before Thanksgiving, a producer text messaged me and said, Adam, can you meet me in the morning for breakfast in Nashville? Now, here's the thing. They're coming to the Tennessee Performing Arts Center in Nashville. That show, the Johnny Cash show, is coming. And I bought tickets to it months ago because I wanted to see Debbie play in this show. And that was it. That's the only motivation I had, just to go see it. Well, now this guy, that's Friday after Thanksgiving. That show's coming right up. It's Wednesday. And this guy says, can you meet me tomorrow? And I said, yes, sir. Now, I took no thought of the fact that it was Thanksgiving, and he didn't either, I don't believe. And I love that. I love that we were just like, yeah, let's do it. So I got up Thursday morning. Again, Amy's at her mama's. I'm going to go down there and eat Thanksgiving dinner later today. But I get up early and I get all dressed up and I realize the stakes are a little bit higher here. I'm going to meet a big deal of a guy. I'm pretty sure this is a producer of a show in Nashville. Like, I'm thinking, man, when I moved to Nashville, this is what I thought I would do one day. And here I am. I'm waking up and going to meet a big old fancy producer. I had in my mind that Hank song. My daddy used to tell me years ago, he'd say, well, son, you tell him, I'll make your movie. I'll take your money. I tell you right now, I was born to boogie. He said, you tell him that. I always thought that was hilarious. So I had in my mind, I said it to myself 10 times. I got dressed up, put on this sports coat and everything else. I said, I'll make your movie. I'll take your money. I'll tell you right now, I was born to boogie. I was telling myself that in the mirror as I was brushing my teeth. I'm like, I'm ready to say yes to this guy. Now, Amy's aware of it, and she's kind of nervous, and I am too, but I've looked at the schedule, and I see that this tour is going to run up in about 8 or 9 days. It's going to be over. They're going home for Christmas. They're going to be home for about 5 or 6 weeks, and then they're going to be back on the road in mid-January through late March. And remember, I only got 2 shows booked in February. Now, I'm nervous about that because I'm like, those 2 shows mean a lot to me. And then people I booked with, I gave them my word I was coming, and I don't know how to handle this. But I was like, one thing at a time. I'm going to freaking just go down here and meet with this guy. Don't count my chickens before they're hatched. So I get in the car and go down there, and I'm very early for this meeting. And I'm sort of pacing around outside, and I walk in. It's 9 in the morning is when we're supposed to meet. It's 8:30. I'm already in there in this fancy hotel in Midtown, Nashville. And a guy comes up to me and says, are you Adam Pope? And I said, yes, sir. He says, all right, come on in here. So I go in and sit down. I done made up my mind. I am not eating in front of this guy. I'm not going to sit here with gravy on my chin while he's talking to me. I'll get coffee. That's it, if he offers. Well, I sit down, and it's him and this lady, real nice lady. They are from Vancouver, real nice people. And they just start talking to me. They're not overly dressed up or nothing. They look like they're on vacation, kind of. Sitting here eating breakfast. And I'm sitting there like I'm being interviewed, which I am. But it's the music business. Interviews are a little bit more low-key, a little casual. You know, it's not like I'm coming into an accounting firm. And I know that, so I'm adapting to the situation, and okay, I'll take a coffee. And he says, now get you something to eat. I go, oh, no, sir, I don't need to eat. And I hadn't ate nothing, but I don't care. I ain't eating in front of this man. I don't want daggum bacon in between my teeth. And he goes, no, I'll get you something. So I scour the menu, because I can tell he wants me to get something. And I'm like, what is the least messy? And I said, I'll take eggs scrambled. And I thought, I think I can get them in my mouth, and they're not gonna be chewy, and they ain't gonna be dripping. I can't do the eggs, that not well done, that's yolk everywhere floating around, and I ain't messing with that. So I was like, all right. So everything is calculated on my end over here. Get my eggs. I mean, usually when I get eggs, I always tell people, oh, this is so exciting. Okay, I ain't telling that joke. No, sir. No, this is extravagant. No, I'm not telling any of those jokes. I'm on business, baby. So we sit and talk, and he just asks me if I'm interested in this show. I said, well, I mean, what am I doing? Tell me about it. And so he tells me, of course I'm interested, but I can't say, yes, sir. You tell me when and where. I ain't like Gomer Pyle. Oh, yes, sir. I'll be right there. I ain't doing that. That's how I feel. And so he tells me all about it, and I'm sitting there like, wow, that's great. That's awesome. This is cool. And Johnny Cash, I mean, what an inspiration he was in my life. Johnny Cash, I remember when he passed away in 2003, I worked at the body shop. there in Greensboro, North Carolina. I went in Walmart. I can still see picking up San Quentin out of the CD rack. And I did not have the Folsom album, but for some reason I grabbed the San Quentin album first. That one was recorded in 1969. Now, I'd heard Folsom Prison. I had learned to play Folsom Prison on the guitar, but I had not actually listened to the Prison album in full, nor the San Quentin one. So I bought the San Quentin one first for some reason, walked out to my car. I had a 1988 Mercury Cougar, and I had me a new CD player in that thing. So I slipped that CD in and started driving out of Walmart. And I will never forget pulling out of Walmart, and that album started. And when it got to him singing, San Quentin, you've been living hell to me. You've tortured me since 1963. I think he said blistered on one of the versions, and another version, he sang the song twice. The other time he said, you've blistered me since 1963. And I'm just stunned listening to this. He goes, I've seen them come and go, and I've seen them die. And long ago I stopped asking why. Good Lord. I mean, I got chills right now, y'all. When I heard that, I had never heard anything like that before. He goes, San Quentin, may you rot and burn in hell. Good Lord. I'm a little Christian boy, you know, and I'm like Johnny Cash, you know, okay, he can be edgy, but this was speaking to me. He goes, may your walls fall and may I live to tell. May all the world forget you ever stood. And may all the world regret you did no good. San Quentin, I hate every inch of you. And the prisoners are screaming, and they're just banging their cups together, and it's like they could just storm the freaking doors and just shove them open and just start shoving the guards out of the way and just take over this escape. And I'm kind of rooting for them at this point. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And Johnny Cash goes, you want to hear it again? And he's like, well, if the guards are still speaking to me, I'd like a drink of water. And he takes a drink and he goes, and he spits it out. And he goes, this water tastes like beep. It throws the cup. You can hear it clang across the stage. And I'm like, this dude is my hero in every way. I don't know why. I got a rebel in me that is hollering right now. I'm giving a rebel holler to this man. I cannot even now explain what I was feeling when I listened to that record. Now I'm sitting in front of this producer 20 years later, 2023, and he says, can you come sing tomorrow with the band? Now remember, this is not a Johnny Cash tribute show. Johnny Cash is on the screen. We're playing in his band for him, the Man in Black. And they said there's going to be some songs that band members sing. And he says, can you come sing San Quentin? And Cry, Cry, Cry is another one. And I said, yes, sir, I'll be there. Now, that's the show I bought tickets for. Now I'm coming early to TPAC, they call it, Tennessee Performing Arts Center. Last time I was at Tennessee Performing Arts Center, I was in the nosebleeds watching Jerry Seinfeld, whom is just another big Mount Rushmore figure in my life as far as an entertainer and somebody I admire for his work ethic. So there's Jerry Seinfeld. Here years later, I'm going to walk out on that stage and audition. That's what it is. I'm going to audition singing San Quentin. Oh my Lord. So I go on to Thanksgiving. I was going to say I went home. I did not. I went to her, my mother-in-law's, and we had a good Thanksgiving and everything. But I'm like, I'm not there in my head, man. Like I got to get ready for this. I know these songs already. What do you mean I got to get ready? I don't know. I got to go back and make sure I know them front to back. So I just obsessed about it for 30 hours. Finally, I pull up at TPAC. Now, this is something, too. I don't know. I was like, I don't know if I should tell this. I'm going to. That day, my wife and kids, this is Friday after Thanksgiving, they've been gone all week. Now they're back, and I'm in the zone of focusing on this. Like, this is my Super Bowl. You know what I mean? And they're like, they're being, two kids. They're just being two kids, but they're fighting, they're arguing, and Amy's she struggles with them after 5 days without me. They can be a little bit, I don't know. They just get used to not having that voice of dad. Hey, sit down. They don't get that. And I'll tell them to sit down. I'm old school. Okay, so and I love them. I will sit and listen to them and play with them. I'll do all that stuff. But I got the old school ways of, I ain't gonna tell you twice. I've said that in my life, and I mean it when I say it. So that's how I grew up. I want them to grow up old school. Old fashioned never gets old to me. That's another one of my songs. So here I am trying to get ready for the show, and it's just like, it feels chaotic in the house. And Amy's supposed to go, and the guy tells me, bring your family. But I'm like, bring my family? I got to ride with my kids while they're fighting and arguing or whatever else to the Super Bowl? I'm like, well, look, I'm going by myself down there. So I said, I love you, Amy, and this is why I got a good wife. She didn't at first she was like, well, you kidding me? You're going by yourself? And I was kind of being a jerk about it, but I was like, I just got to go. I went hours early. I sat in the car, and I just obsessed over these songs and making sure if this is what I believed. God brought this to me. This was my belief. Now, people go, well, you're seeing God everywhere. It's like, yeah, absolutely. And I want this opportunity. I'm nervous about what it means for sure. If I'm doing it, I'm going to be gone from my family for 10 weeks. I don't think that's amazing. I'm not looking forward to that. But I know that we could use the money and the job. And this is a good paying opportunity for what I do. As a guitar playing guy that runs around and sings songs, this is a godsend. And I know how I feel. I'm excited about this. And it's something I need. I need this. I'm shook up about it. When you get those things and get those moments, like, to me, that's a voice I listen to in my life. So I'm sorry, I'm belaboring this story's taking forever. All right, I get in the car, I go down there, and I'm sitting outside of the Performing Arts Center, TPAC, and I'm blown away that I'm fixing to go in this place. There's a security guard. Again, it's like just the other day, I was at the Country Music Hall of Fame. All these things that I don't feel like I belong in these places. I remember when I was walking in TPAC, I'm carrying my guitar. I got my songs in my head. By the way, Johnny Cash, the version they want me to sing, he says, San Quentin, you've been living hell to me. You've blistered me since 1963. And that word kept getting replaced in my brain as tortured because I've heard the other version so many times. At least I think that's what it is. And I kept saying tortured instead of blistered. And I was overthinking it. It was making me mad because I kept saying tortured. And I was like, you know what? I grabbed my Sharpie and I wrote on my wrist, blistered, out of my Corolla. I just saw a Sharpie laying there, so I wrote blistered on my wrist. And I then realized I have a suit on. I mean, it's a low-key tux, and yet my wrist is sticking out and it says blistered with a Sharpie, and that looks pretty stupid. And I thought, well, by God, I mean, Lord, I'm going to remember it now, and I don't need them to see me with blistered written on my arm. Like, they're going to think it's a daggone tattoo. So then I got in there, and I sort of hid my arm when it was my left hand, so, like, I shook hands with people, and I kind of kept this other hand, like, off, kind of hidden under my sleeve, my wrist, had my sleeve pulled up. I go in there in the bathroom, I start scrubbing this blistered off. I'm like, I mean, for heaven's sake, surely I'll remember it at this point. Well, I didn't remember. I said tortured. I mean, come on. After all of that, you'd think I'd remember to say blistered. So I screwed that one up. See what I mean, though? Like, I'm just so stressed out through this whole experience. So now I get in there and I meet a few of, like, the higher-ups in this show and some of the band members. And, I wish the sound check was now, but it's not because I'm early and they told me to come in early. And Amy and the kids are coming down separate, so I got to go back outside to get them in, which is fine. But I'm just like, let's get this over with. And they're like, here's your dressing room. My dressing room? Huge dressing room. Shower, bathroom, mirrors everywhere, light bulbs. I'm like, well, I better make sure I got no boogers or nothing going on here. Let's just make sure. So I got all that. I don't want no boogers around my eyes. Like, I want everything to be, like, I ain't stressing over anything this much in my entire life. I don't know why. This thing just hit me out of nowhere, and I was like intense about it. So now's the time. I'm sitting in there with my car. I done went out and got Amy and the kids. They parked out there somewhere in Nashville and made it in, and it worked out good. So Amy's not mad at me. She loves me. She's happy to be there. Kids are, and I'm like, I'm not going to let them get me off. I feel good about it. I'm not going to let them get on my nerves or nothing. You know, I love them. They're here. Thank you, Lord. I'm just trying to think of all the right things. Now it's time. Knock on the door. All right, Adam, come on out. We go through hallways and stairways, and we finally get up there, and Debbie Horton is there. She's the reason I got this. I just played Branson on the Road in Effingham the other day for her. Now here I am with her getting me in on this opportunity. Now I got my guitar, and I'm like, where do I go? They're like, oh, just leave that over there. I mean, unless you have to play it. I'm like, no, I don't care. And I walk out there, and they got this fancy, nice guitar. They've got everything tuned up. The band is in place. I've got my in-ears, which that's my little headset. You put that in your ears so you can hear the band and hear yourself. They don't have stage monitors like most of the places I'm playing out here in the world. So this is uptown right now. So I feel the anxiousness and nervousness that I used to feel before big moments, and I know it's a big one. And here's the thing, I've played basketball on teams where this is a free throw I've shot thousands of times, but the stakes are higher with this one, and I'm aware of it. But you have to minimize that in your mind and just go, it's just a free throw, and sink it, just like I've done thousands of times. And I've done that in sports, so I know in this moment I can be clutch. I can also screw up like the best of them. So no one's batting 1,000 like in this life, in these situations. So here we go. Boom, 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 San Quentin. And I hear, as soon as I say San Quentin, I hear my voice. I pull one of my ears out. Not my ears, but that sounded stupid. That's what we say, but that's one of my headphones out of my ear, so I could hear my voice resonate through all of TPAC, and I could hear the band on stage. Without speakers, I could just hear them playing. And I'm like, you've been living hell to me. And right away, I'm like I feel this is it, man. Like, this is it. I love this. And when you sing, you love to hear yourself come back. It's a little bit egotistical. It's also just, it gives you confidence. It's not, I don't think it's all egotistical. It's just, you hear yourself. And then when you hear that reverberation of a song that I'm confident in vocally, because I don't think of myself as a good singer, but when I'm singing that, I feel like that's my go-to right there. I can do that. So I hear it in the room. I look way up there and I see where I was sitting when I watched Seinfeld doing his thing down here. Jay Leno, I seen Leno here. And now I'm here with this band, and I'm like, I feel good. And I said, you've tortured me. I didn't say blistered, but I don't care. I keep rolling. I'm like, you know what? Make mistakes. Who cares? Just keep singing. And I get through it. And when I end it, everybody has a good vibe about them. They're smiling. They're all looking good. And there's a few people in the audience. Amy and the kids are out there. And that producer guy I met with is holding up his video camera. And he said he was videoing it to share it with the decision makers. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I know that's happening too. So I'm doing this song, and I get done, and somebody hollers, "Hire this man now!" And I didn't know who it was, but I heard it. And I was like, well, that's a good sign. So they said, all right, well, let's do the next song. Cry, cry, cry. Boom, 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 ba-dong, ba-dong, dong, dong. I could sit here and hum that. And so I sang that song, and I had no problem singing that. I've done that over the years in a lot of shows. So in that one, those are the only 2 songs they requested me to do beforehand. So I said, all right, well, thank y'all for the opportunity. And the guy goes, well, hold on. Why don't you go ahead and do a Big River? Oh, boy, I like Big River. I know that one. Here it goes. Now I taught the weeping willow how to cry. And I'm in the zone on that one, And so, I mean, I ain't bragging, y'all. I just knew what was going on. Like, I felt good about all this stuff. And we end that. Hit the drum, and everybody, we're all like together, and it's fun. And I'll go, okay, this is feeling good. So I walk off stage, and the producer that I met with, he doesn't run up and say, great job or nothing. He runs up and says, do you think you can shave for this show? Which I didn't see that one coming. Now, I've had a beard, I've had facial hair my entire adult life. But I just looked at him and said, well, if that's what it takes. And then I left. I went and got pizza, and then I came back to watch the show, because I still ain't seen the show. So me and Amy and the kids watched the show, and y'all, I cried, I think 5 times, just because it was a good show. If I had not been a part of any of this, if none of this stuff would have happened and I just went and saw the show, I would have been emotional. Because Johnny Cash is a hero to me. And his delivery of American music, the Ragged Old Flag, his patriotism, the way he honored his Christian upbringing and the Lord with those final songs that they sang, that big gospel singing. I mean, all that stuff is very just close to my heart. It hits me, and I love it. So I watched this show. Everybody did a great job, and I thought, man, it would be really special to be a part of this. But no one's told me for sure that I got it. That's Friday night. I got good vibes. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. At Monday, I mean, I'm texting Debbie, have you heard anything? She's like, nope. Monday night, I'm like, well, I can't keep waiting. I got other shows I got to cancel or reschedule, and I don't want to cancel. These people have been good to me. These other two, and it's like, yeah, this is 55, I think. I got to recount, but I think it's 55 shows on the Johnny Cash tour from January 15th to March 24th. I mean, it's a no-brainer. I got to do it, but it ain't been offered to me yet, so I ain't canceling nothing. He calls me Tuesday. Are you ready to shave your beard? I said, yes, sir, if that's what it takes. I did add that because I thought, well, if it don't take that, I'd sure like to keep it. But I didn't say that. What an amazing thing. I got the job. And now I'm just prepping for it. There are some songs in this show I don't know. There is a script. And so here, I've been telling y'all about this Branson on the Road. Remember in the last part 1, that's why there's 2 parts. Because part 1 was, I'm in this show, it's theater, there's a script, I don't understand why I'm doing this. This came out of nowhere, all because of this Johnny Cash gig I had, and I needed this lady that played like Johnny Cash. $75, can you do it? She's a way bigger deal than that. She goes, sure. She sees something in me, puts me in her show, and I'm sort of like, why am I doing all that? Like, I'm learning these songs. I don't want to do some of these songs in her show. I'm like, I got to say all this stuff exactly like the script. She says, yep, just like the script. And then once we get going in it, she sees I'm an entertainer. You know, things loosen up a bit. I earn her trust. She's starting to let me kind of feature me a little bit, but that's not what it's all about. I'm making money. I'm making an income for my family. I'm getting out of a parts department where I used to work years ago. I'm like, well, why am I in a Branson show? I'm not a Branson guy. I've never been to Branson. I'm learning all this script and doing all this stuff and traveling all around, playing all these theaters. Theater versus gigs, it's 2 different things. I guess I'm learning this too. I didn't know about it. Well, what was that all for? And now I'm not even hardly doing that. And now I'm back to doing what I do with me and my wife, and that seems to be going good. We put out an album, and oh my gosh, we're being considered for a Grammy. Oh my gosh, we're on the cusp of no work for the entire winter. And then God, like I said at the end of the last one, let's just get to it. Jesus. Again, if this gig didn't show up, Jesus is good. God is good. It don't matter. But I'm giving him the credit for the good things in life. So I guess I'm leaving my family for 10 weeks and I'm going to sing San Quentin. That's it. On the cusp of the big Johnny Cash tour with Johnny Cash himself and the technology we now have to put him up on a big screen and be in his band and continue the sound and the music of the Man in Black. What an honor. I can't wait.